Hi, hello, welcome. My name is Nancy. I'm also known as Unpick a Queen on Instagram, and this is my little space on YouTube to show you all the things that I'm currently creating. I have filmed this intro at least a dozen times, so I am so sorry if this video is a bit dysfunctional. I'm not sure what's going on with my brain today. If you're new here, this is a place where I show you mostly my knitting, but I also do some sewing, and in the future I'm going to show you a bit of my garden, but it's not quite finished yet, so until then it'll be mainly knitting. Today I have one finished object since the last time I filmed a podcast. I have two new cast-ons. One I started last night because I couldn't help myself, and then a little bit further progress to show you on a sweater I've been knitting. I also, last year when I had a bit of a hiatus showing, or podcasting I mean, I knitted quite a bit. So I am going to, like I said last podcast, pull out some knits to show you. So I've got something else to show you there, and this little vest which we can talk about too. So I might start with the vest. So this is a vest number 4 by My Favorite Things Knitwear. It is knit in an 8-ply merino by Woolworks. Sorry. In the colorway, I think Super Duper. It's one of my favorite pieces I've made. I didn't think that the yarn would end up this purpley, and my husband and my mum assure me it's not actually that purple. But I knitted it at the end of last year, or the end of last winter, so in like August, and I wore it heaps after that. And then now that the weather has started to get a bit cool, it's the first thing I have pulled out of my cupboard. So this is the second time I've made this. I made the size large this time. My husband just came home and our dog is locked inside because our chickens are out, and I'm confident she'd probably eat one if she got the chance. So I was saying I made this in a medium previously in a really pretty pink, and it didn't fit. It fit for a little bit and then it didn't. So I gifted it to my grandma and she loves it. This is probably the most versatile thing in my wardrobe. If you don't know me, I have quite big hips, so things tend to be really tight around the waist and the belly, but not so much in the bust. So I really struggle, and I think that open things like this are a much better fit for me. So I do have some yarn, and I'm going to make another one, which I'll show you in a little bit. Yeah. So my other finished object is this pair of Field of Sunflower socks by Stone Knit that I showed you last time. So they are a really pretty blue, which I think was called Cornflower. And then I'm not sure if this was a mustard yellow. It wasn't as bright as I thought it was going to be, but the blue wasn't the same either. But I think they go really well together and I love them. I really love how quick colorwork socks turn out. You sort of have a pattern repeat, and I don't know, for me, I'm like, oh, I just need to get to the next one before I put it down, or just to the next one. And I think it only took me 2 weeks to make these. I started them when we went on holidays to Mooloolaba. And yeah, I'm glad I did. They are great. It is more yarn out of my stash because I had this pre-bought ready to make these. I really love Stone Knit socks. And I guess I can show you the pair of socks I started recently because I have no other finished objects. I to be honest, I haven't knitted in the last week until about last night. I just haven't been interested. I've been doing quite a bit of sewing, which I won't show you any of because I didn't get any of it out. But yeah, so I started, if you've been following me on Instagram, you'll know I started this little pair of Eggs for Easter socks. And I have one finished, and then the other is in progress. So they have the cutest little chicken pattern, and I just still have to add their beaks, or add the white and the yellow double stitch, which I haven't done yet. And then they have the cutest little egg, like cracked egg toe. These are from Spektakel's recent book, which I got for Christmas. This is a second pair of socks I've made out of this book, and I'm so glad I did. The only thing I wish I'd done was maybe add a little bit more in the between the chickens and the start of the heel. I knit them exactly to pattern, and I started them a week before Easter, thinking stupidly, I don't know which one's a word, that I might have them done ready for Easter, but I got to the heel flap of the second pair and then I had a bit of sock fatigue, so I put them down, and I haven't really knit since then until last night, which I will show you my new cast on in a moment. These are so cute, and like always, Spektakel's patterns are amazing. I recommend her book a lot. Oh, I can probably talk about the yarn. Sorry. See, I told you I'm a bit dysfunctional. I hand dyed this mint yarn with 4-ply sock yarn from the Nundle Wool Mill. Oops, sorry. I'm really indigestion-y today. And then I did this little brown color for the chickens. So all of the patterns I looked at on Ravelry had like a really dark sock and a white chicken. And none of my chickens, I've got 8, none of them are white. So I wanted to be a bit different from what everyone else had done. So I decided to go with a lighter sock and a darker chicken. And I do not regret it at all. I love them. They are so cute, and they will be so cute when they are finished, which is hopefully soon. But I knitted these ones so quick and then started these next, and I think I got a bit of sock fatigue, which is why they have just been put in the little project bag and zipped away in the shelf for quite a while. Yeah, but I recommend her patterns, and I think you should have a look at least the ones online. The next thing I'm going to show you is something I showed you last podcast, and it is my Soldatonacrop, and I'm not sure if I ever say that correctly, but I have knit most of the body. I lengthened this considerably. I think if I had knit to pattern, she said she does 5 repeats of the stitch here, which would have made it like here, and then maybe the border might be this long, which is just ridiculous. That's so, I guess that's a crop. But I have a really hard time with sizing at the moment. I'm not sure what it is, but I knit the size 3, which I think was 101 centimeter bust. Maybe it was 98. Anyway, that's supposed to fit my bust, but it's really quite snug around the rest of me. So I'm just taking a break from it for the minute because I'm not sure what I'm going to do. I think I'm going to finish it, and at worst, it can go to my mum. But it's not going to my mum. If you're watching this, Mum, I love you, but it was quite a slog. Yeah, but I love this so much, and I can't wait for it to be finished and to fit it. Hopefully it blocks out a bit and gives me a bit of room. Maybe it will be finished before the next podcast. The next thing I'm going to show you, I showed you the yarn for last time, and it is the Stripe Overload Polo, and I cannot remember the name of the company who made this. It is in some Norwegian name, so I will pop it down here too, or in the comments, or in the description. I mean, I'm enjoying this. I started this last night, and I have just started the short rows around the backside. So this is the Stripe Overload Polo kid version. I thought I would make ribbons first, and I really love for us to match, so I got enough for myself as well. Enough yarn, sorry, for myself as well. And I thought I better start it soon, because otherwise we won't be able to wear them especially now that the weather has cooled down. So I can show you the yarn. I've got extras. Oh gosh, sorry. Just over here, I'll get it. Ooh, sorry. So I showed you last podcast the yarn, but I can show you again now. I got the Peruvian Highland wool in the colorway, I think this was called Coral, and I'm not sure what color this was, but it's 141 and 254. And then I bought some Filicolana, I'm saying that really wrong, the Tilia, in coordinating color. So this one's color 341 and this is color 340, and I think they go together pretty well. They're looking excellent in this, and this is going to be such a snuggly warm jumper. I'm hoping it is not something that my son destroys like every other piece of clothing in his cupboard. My husband's pretty good with the knits, so they come off before we eat messy things. I wish you could feel this. It is so, it's almost like spongy, fluffy, it's thick. This Highland wool is like a 10 ply, so that paired with mohair is going to be such a nice big jumper ready for winter. So I have wanted to make this for myself since I saw the London Loom post her beautiful red and pink version on Instagram, and I had a look for the red and pink, and it was available on the site I bought, but this company's just released the kid version, and I thought, oh my god, I'm so down for making matching jumpers. So I started rubies last night, like I said, and I'm already at the round. Ooh, I can't wait for this to be finished. I'm really excited about it, just in case you can't tell. That concludes all my finished makes. Like I said, I haven't really been knitting very much. I've had sore wrists, and just the last week we've been really busy. We are currently fixing our garden and planning to cover the whole thing because it was destroyed by possums this year. I think the only thing we got out of it was pumpkin, a crap load of chilies, and the rosellas, which I'm still picking, and hopefully we'll make a huge batch of jam sometime soon. So I might show you next some acquisitions. So I talked about wanting to make another one of these, and I had been looking online for yarn, but I have all of this yarn in my stash that I would really, really love to pair down with. So I bought, oh sorry, now everything's on top of it. I bought these two colors last year. So a Silky Kid in, oh, I can't remember what color that is. On the back it says color 77. And then a Bellissimo number 4. Again, I have no idea what color it was. It's color 430. I think I got them both at Skein Sisters. And I made my son a Stockholm slipover mini last year in these. And I had planned to make myself a vest as well, but time just got away, so I didn't. And my son has since grown out of his vest, which is why I'm getting a jump start on the stripe overload jumpers so that we actually match. But I think I'm going to turn these into a vest number 4 because I really love this vest, and I wish there was more open vests from more size inclusive companies, but until I find another, this will be the one I make. If you have any recommendations for better, more size inclusive companies with something buttoned down, I'd love to know. Leave me a little comment below. Until then, that's what I'm going to make with these. I'm so happy. They are very pretty. And then I have so many plans. I've got so much yarn in my little stash, but I thought I'd just show you 2 projects today that I plan on making. So the first one is that's number 4. And the second is a beanie for my son, because someone, a lady at work that my mum works with, made this beautiful cable beanie last year for Ribby, and it is extremely snug on his head now because his head has gotten bigger, of course. So I have 2 yarns. I have this beautiful peacock, well, that was the colorway, 8-ply merino from Woolworks, and this beautiful blue, and it's got I dyed this one. I put pink speckles which turned purpley, and I can't decide which one. I've made Ruby a vest in this, a Stockholm Silver Mini in this, which I showed you last podcast, and I can't decide whether I want to make a matching beanie for him or make something new. Last year I made I made like 8 what are they? It's a petite knit 2x2 rib. I want to say the Weekender hat. Anyway, it doesn't matter. I made a lot of them, and I didn't make Ruben one because he had a beanie that fit already. So I think I'm going to use that pattern because it is super easy and I've made it before. And I don't really feel like buying another pattern. I purchased no, maybe it's the weekend hat I purchased recently. Maybe it's the Sunday beanie. Anyway, I recently purchased Petite Knits' newest beanie pattern, which I think is called the Weekender beanie. And I started knitting one for myself, and the 1x1 rib was so painful that I actually stopped knitting it. It's a beautiful beanie, don't get me wrong, but it has a double cuff, and that was going to be too much knitting for my poor little wrists in a circle. So I think I'll make the Sunday beanie for Ruby to match Dennis and mine anyway, in one of these colors. If you had to pick, which one would you pick? I might put a little poll on my Instagram once I finished the strap overload jumper. But that will be my next cast on, I'm sure of it, because it is getting so cold so quickly. I feel like we went to the coast and then all of a sudden when we came back it was cold, which is so bizarre for me. But I think that's what happens every year here. It just gets really cold really quick. It is generally super cold by Anzac Day, and it is Anzac Day next week. So we're on Monday in like 4 days. So Tuesday, it's on Tuesday. So I guess it's going to be really cold for us very soon. Now, the last thing I'm going to show you is a shawl I made last year, which I showed in progress on a podcast previously. And I love the finished product of this shawl, but I absolutely hated the process of knitting it. So a lovely knitter by the name of Sian posted a video about how she was making this shawl for her mum. And I thought, oh my God, that's amazing. I should make that shawl. It looks so easy. And I was wrong. It was easy, but it was so boring. It was so boring to knit. And I'm sorry for the person who created this pattern, but it was a slog to finish. I think just the continuous garter stitch just really got to me, and it took forever to finish. But here it is in all of its glory. This is the Bennett Sisters shawl, which I again made in Woolworks. I really need to pick some new dyers. But anyway, I love her yarn, so for now I'm just sticking with it. So I used, no idea what colours they were, but I used a 4-ply in this colour. And then I used a mohair on the other half, like the pattern suggests, in just an orangey colour she had. And it really changed. It's really hard to see in this light because it's so dark outside. Sorry. It changed it, so it's really pink on this side, and then this side's really orange. I do love it. It is not very big though, so that's its downside. I wish it was a bit bigger. But I used it a lot last winter after I finished it. Once I got to halfway, it didn't actually take me that long, but it was getting to halfway. And in the side without the mohair, I feel like there's lots of mistakes, but as soon as I picked up the mohair, it became almost easier to knit. I don't know if it was just the slipperiness of the 4-ply from memory, but this is a pattern I won't make again. If I'm being completely honest, this is a pattern I will never make again. I love it, but I would maybe want to find something with a bit more detail so that it could keep me a bit more interested. And I guess as a knitter I can say that because I made it myself and I wouldn't make it for myself again. That's terrible. Thank you for listening to me whinge about that. So that's all the things I have to show you. I didn't have much in between because, like I said, I've been sewing a lot. But you can check out those makes on Instagram if you like this sewing. So recently I had this bright idea to create, originally I think I decided I was going to make a blog post about patterns that I think are great for kids. But taking pictures and writing are not really my style. So I decided that I would just make reels instead. And I think I've made 3 now. The last one got like 10 likes. Thanks everyone. But I've got many more to come, and I think I will make a little knitting version reel for this one. So if you're interested in seeing reels for kids, then you should definitely jump onto my Instagram and have a look, because I have so many more great patterns to show you. Yeah, but other than that, this is my podcast for today. I might show you a little video of my garden at the end of this video, just because I can and because I love the garden so much. But thank you so much for watching. If you liked this video, give it a good old thumbs up. Please don't thumbs down it, that will make me sad. And if you feel like you want to watch more of my videos, make sure you subscribe, and hopefully I will talk to you again in the next one. Bye. Here is my little garden. We have 6 raised beds, they're birdie beds, and then this really great chicken coop, and hopefully on the weekend we're going to start to cover it so that we don't lose any more crops to possums. We finished this great rock edging today. Yeah, I hope to show you more of it soon.